That's not going to block it? Okay, well, good evening. And welcome to you all. My name is Dave Bloom. I've been a volunteer with Telford for just on 20 years now. And I'm very excited to welcome you all here this evening to the opening of the Goldene Medina exhibition. I'd especially like to welcome Ambassador Sisa Ngubadi. You are a very great supporter of the community, and we know that you were here on Sunday this week, and so it proves the point that you really are engaged, and we really appreciate your involvement and connection with our community. Thank you very much. I'd like to welcome the chairman of Telfed, Batja Schmuckler. I'm proud to say Batja is the first woman to chair Telfed in 70 years of our existence. And you can see Telfed is celebrating 70 years this year, and we'll talk a bit about that in a bit. I'd also like to welcome Protia's chairman, Mike Silver. On behalf of Telfed, I'd like to thank you for your excellent ongoing partnership with Telfed. And I think that this evening is an example of how we work together as two organizations, the South African community, and especially in opening this exhibition together. So thanks, Mike, and thanks to everybody behind you. Special thanks to our sponsors of the exhibition, to Alan and Carol Feinblum, and also to Monty and Marilyn Hilkovitz. Without their generosity, this exhibition would not take place. I'd like a round of applause, please. I'd like to also give special thanks to Gavin Morris, who's the director of the South African Jewish Museum, who's our third partner in this evening. And I'll tell you a little bit about that partnership, but Gavin has been very instrumental in helping getting the exhibition across to us from South Africa. I'll tell you a bit about it later on. This is the first showing of the exhibition outside of South Africa. It's been in Cape Town, it's been in Durban and in Johannesburg. It's the first time it's been shown outside of South Africa. And we have with us, I think Eric. Is Eric here in the hall? Yes, there's Eric. We have Eric Michaels here in the hall, who's a resident of Protia. Those of you who don't know, Eric was for many years involved with the South African Jewish Museum. And so we have a connection, and it's a great connection to have, Michael, and welcome, and we really appreciate that continuity. I'd like to recognize the CEO of Telfed, Doron Klein, who should join us any minute. He's not actually in the hall, but he will join us shortly. Doron, on behalf of us all, I'd like to wish him long life. He just lost his father, so this is a difficult time for him, but he's still very active and very involved in all our events. He's actually just been up in Haifa, the opening of a square in the name of Paul Arieli has been opened in Haifa and been named after Paul Arieli, who was also a great benefactor of the South African community and of the Israeli community. You should know that, in fact, it was an email that Doron sent me about 6 months ago, telling me about the Goldene Medina exhibition that triggered this whole process. So thanks to Doron for initiating it with me, and I picked up the ball and ran with it. I'd also like to, of course, recognize and welcome and thank Lynn Lockhoff, Director of Protia, for all the support from your team, and for the pleasure to work with you guys, really. Of course, my working partner in this project was Lynn Bach, who's probably going to collapse tonight after a very hectic week of events non-stop. She started off on Sunday evening. They had one event every evening this week, and Bemet, kol hakavod to you. And results to Protia on these celebrations of your 25th. In the background, we had a team of Barry Hack and Marcel. Thank you to you two also for doing all the registrations. Thank you very much. From Karen Telfed. Karen Protia, sorry. I'd like to welcome the board of board members of both Telfed and Protia. I won't mention all names, but really it's great to see you all here this evening. I'd like to make special mention, though, of two people who helped me amazingly. That is Sid and Michelle Shapiro. Thank you both. for stepping up and helping me put the exhibition up. Really great and really appreciate it. So, Nelson Mandela is quoted as saying that one has to remember to celebrate milestones as you prepare for the road ahead. And indeed, we are celebrating 3 milestones here this evening. We're celebrating the 25th anniversary of the founding of Beth Protia. You guys are actually the baby. You're the baby of the celebrations. And we're celebrating 70 years of Telfed being in operation. Since 1948, Telfed has been helping to absorb Goldene from Southern Africa. And we are two important partners in this evening's event. But the third part of this partnership is the sorry, lost my train. Is the actual Goldene Medina exhibition itself, which is 175 years. So Goldene Medina, as an exhibition, really comes to celebrate 175 years of the founding of the Jewish community in South Africa. 1841 was the first Kol Nidre prayers were held in a house in Cape Town, and I'll talk a bit about that in a few moments. So we really have a lot to be proud of, and a lot of amazing community work, of shared history, of family life, of community work, mutual assistance, and Israel Adadit. And I think we have a lot to be proud of. I'm going to talk a bit about the actual exhibition shortly. So without further ado, I'm going to call up, please, Michael Silva to say a few words on behalf of Beth Protia.
Good evening. I've been told to be brief and short, so I'm going to live up to those expectations. Firstly, a welcome to Ambassador Goldene, to Protia Schmuckler, and I'd also like to Goldene, the chair of the Karen. I'd like to welcome you, and a special warm welcome to everyone that's here this evening. It's wonderful to have such a lovely crowd here. We're in a very special week. We're celebrating the Beth Protia's 25th. So it's been a wonderful week of celebrations. There's been a number of different activities. And I wanted to thank Dave and those responsible for having the exhibit here this evening. We really are very grateful and appreciative, and thank you very much. The last thing I just wanted to touch on is the following is we, Beth Protia and Telfed, have always had a very close relationship. In fact, from what I understand, Telfed played an integral role in the establishment of the formation of Beth Protia. So I want to thank Telfed for that. I want to thank Telfed for the ongoing support, and we look forward to doing great things together. Welcome once again, and enjoy your evening.
I'd also like now to welcome and ask Protia Schmuckler to say a few words on behalf of Telfed.
Thank you, Ambassador, for coming also, and to Michael Silva and all. We're looking forward to working very closely with Beth Protia in the future. Also to the past chairman of Telfed that are here today, welcome. It's with great pride that I stand here today as the recently elected chairman of Telfed, the South African Zionist Federation in Israel. We're very proud of all the achievements that We're very proud to be part of the achievements of an incredible Jewish community that is celebrating over 175 years of Jewish life in Southern Africa. At Telfed, we're proud of our Southern African roots, and it's such an honor for us to join in hosting this wonderful exhibition, which showcases the life, culture, and contribution of the Southern African community over the last 175 years. It's thanks to this wonderful community that we're able to carry out so many of our activities in Israel today. Telfed was established in 1948 with the outbreak of the War of Independence, when the Southern African community sent 804 Machalnikim to volunteer in the war effort. This number is really significant if we think about the South African community then made up of 100,000 Jews. To send 800 volunteers is a huge thing in comparison to America, where there were 6 million Jews and they sent 1,000 volunteers. This just says something about how vibrant and Zionistic the Southern African community was back then already. Since its inception in 1948, Telfed has been the umbrella organization looking after Southern Africans living in Israel. I'd like to draw your attention to a few of the activities and services that Telfed is able to provide thanks to the foresight and continued support of the Southern African Jewish community. Since the 1950s until today, this support enables Telfed to provide over 400 academic scholarships every year, drawn from 120 trust funds that we administer. Our very first hostel building was built in 1951, followed by 2 more buildings in Tel Aviv and Ra'anana, and this allows us to provide housing assistance to assist New Orleans from South Africa. More importantly, the rental income from these buildings enables us to provide financial assistance to more than 350 individuals every month. While our primary focus is obviously on the South African Jewish community in Israel, we continue to maintain strong ties with the local Jewish leadership in South Africa and the community at whole. We are active participants in the Aliyah fairs every year and send hundreds of Telfed magazines to the shuls and community centers in South Africa in order to encourage Aliyah and showcase the tremendous achievements of the South African community in Israel. Telfed has a strong relationship with Beth Protia, going back 25 years to the establishment of Beth Protia, and I'd like to wish Beth Protia Mazal Tov on celebrating this amazing milestone. As Telfed enters its 70th year of operations, we have a lot to be proud of, and there's so much more to look forward to. This evening is just one of our many activities celebrating our 70th anniversary. And events like these continue to strengthen the ties between Telfed, Beth Protia, and the wider South African Jewish community. I'd like to end with a quote from Nelson Mandela. "What counts in life is not the mere fact that we have lived. It is what difference we have made to the lives of others that will determine the significance of the life we lead." Thank you very much.
Thank you, Batia. I'd now like to call on Ambassador Goldene to say a few words to the audience. Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you to Dave Bloom for chairing this evening and guiding us through. I'm back here. I was here last Sunday. The 2 lanes are here, but chairman of Beth Protia, and then of course the chairman of Telfed. I see the former chairman there. He was still chairman when I came into Israel, and he moved on the baton. I see a few faces I recognize that I've met, and of course I was greeting the cast family here. I don't intend to stay long. I heard about this exhibition. I wish I could have had an opportunity to go down there and move and have a look and see all the great things that mark Jewish life in South Africa. So, unfortunately, I won't be able to do that. I've got a few commitments that I have to fulfill. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. Are you okay now? I have a speech really, but I think it's a great occasion, the 70th anniversary of Telfed's existence, the 25 years of Beth Protia. And I was going through the internet, of course, and I was reminded there that it was just a few days ago, the centenary of the birth of Helen Suzman. And it happens at the time we're celebrating another centenary of a great South African, Oliver Reginald Tambo. It was a great celebration, started slowly and built up momentum. I think it was reflective of who Oliver Tambo was a man of a very quiet character, not effervescent, but very, very measured and very, very deep in thought and intellectually grounded. I happen to know him, have worked with him a few years when I was in Lusaka. So we celebrate 100 years of Oliver Tambo and Hene Suzulu. But the Jewish community in South Africa dates back many years, you know, to this exhibition. And their contribution has been great. It's been wonderful, and has had profound impact on the history of South Africa. Of course, Oliver Tambo, and Nelson Mandela, and Walter Sisulu, and other leaders were to hone their skills in the fight against apartheid, working with Jewish leaders. And of course, this university was central in that. And there was a strong leadership at Wits, and also of students of Jewish community who found upon themselves to link hands with these South Africans and fight for a better life for all. Later on, when I was growing up, I got on to know about people like Ruth First, a very prominent South African, independent woman, married to Joe Slovo, an academician herself, who of course was to die in Mozambique through a parcel bomb. The parcel was addressed to her, and she opened it, and it exploded and killed her. I can go on and tell you more, but I think the emphasis is not on tragedy and the pain, I think, which we have suffered together with the Jewish community in South Africa. I think there's also great success that we celebrate in arts, in culture, in every walk of life in South Africa. I think Johannesburg, in true measure of the word, Johannesburg wouldn't be had it not been the Jewish community. Of course, one of the outstanding landmarks in Johannesburg, and I happened to visit an adjoining area when I was young, 1976. But the landmark you might all know if you have been to South Africa is the Carlton Center and the Carlton Ritz Hotel. Because the Carlton Ritz Hotel was one of the first 5-star hotels in South Africa. Real 5-star. And adjoining it was a theater, Colosseum Theater, with a ceiling that reflected blue skies. You were like you were outside. But Carlton Hotel, Carlton Ritz, Carlton Center itself, of course they've suffered. And the Carlton Hotel, the 5-star hotel, is still closed. Shut down completely. It's not open to public. There are many reasons for this. Of course, people mention crime and all that. But as you would know, in big cities, inner cities are very, very difficult to manage. You need a very structured plan. You need a very determined population to keep the inner city vibrant. I'm glad to say, slowly we're going back there. Carlton Center is working, but I read a note maybe yesterday or day before yesterday, written by someone who lives and works in Johannesburg. And he said, indeed, Johannesburg has become the Dubai of Southern Africa. It is the Dubai of Southern Africa because the bulk of people who visit Johannesburg, they go and purchase their goods and livelihood to take abroad to the neighboring countries. So I'm circling this, but in a large measure, it talks to a very, very vibrant and important Jewish contribution in South Africa. It's a contribution we want to revive. It's a contribution we want to keep with the generations that are still there. So, the Goldene Medina is one of the reminders of how we can contribute to this great work. I think there was part of the people who curated the Goldene Medina. There was, of course, the exhibition of Nelson Mandela that was also moving around. And of course, that exhibition of Nelson Mandela's life talks to a large part to the Jewish life, political life in South Africa. So, to conclude, I'm here with another 12 months or so. I've been working with the Jewish community here to try and keep the flame on. That there's a community here that needs to be maintained and serviced, that links with the community in South Africa, and they're all proud South Africans. And in a small measure, I've also been lucky to have worked next to these big leaders who sort of parted this know-how and this history in a small measure to me. In 1992, no? Yes, in 1992, Nelson Mandela, after his release from prison, had to undertake a world tour. I met him on these few days of release in Lusaka, of course at a distance. We were in a hall, he addressed us. But I was later to meet him in Brussels in 1992, when I was serving in Brussels in a small office with my family as an ANC representative. Nelson Mandela had come to Belgium, come to the European community to thank the European community, the parliamentarians, for the work that they've done to support the people of South Africa and his race in particular. In that heavy schedule that he had, we had to put in a meeting with the Jewish community. There was representation that Nelson Mandela was coming from New York. He must have time to meet the European Jewish community. And we had to arrange this. And it was not in a nearby corner, it was far away. He shuttled to La Hope, outside Brussels. He drove there, he was tired, it was a heavy schedule. And he drove there, met the European Jewish community that managed to be there, and greeted all of them, one by one. So I was there. I organized that visit with the leaders that were there in Brussels that time. So to conclude then, to all of you here, this is a proud moment for me to be in front of you, to encourage you. I know we are very young, to keep going, maintaining the strength that we have given to this relationship, and to be proud South Africans. On a happy note, we'll be playing rugby this weekend, so you watch the rugby. The Springboks are playing Ireland, in Ireland, in Dublin. It's a very difficult one. We are competing to host the 2023 Rugby World Cup in South Africa. The Irish want it, and the French want it, but we are going to prove to them that we are going to win it by beating them on the field. So, in those words, again, thank you for inviting me, and thank you again. My wife, Katanyana, could not be here. She's still trying to adjust. She's got a touch of flu. So, would like to really thank your support. I must say that I could have stayed longer, I could have enjoyed more of your hospitality, but unfortunately I have an engagement, duty that I've got to do, which I cannot avoid. We lost a young diplomat in the embassy when I was here, I think in the course of last weekend. And we found him on Monday. He was a young man, about 38, living alone. So he's been not showing good signs. And when we went to his house on Monday, he was late. He's deceased. So we are grappling with that. We're trying to do everything possible to support his family, to make sure that he's repatriated to South Africa. So it is the major thing that we are dealing with in the embassy. The guest, I think I'm the most senior person there in age, not about rank. I think I'm the elder person in the embassy in age. So I've got to guide and help all those that are working on this matter. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. Thank you very much, and we're sorry for your loss. Okay, I'll just make this quick. I'm going to just give you a bit of background about the exhibition. I said earlier that I'll just give you a few words about the actual exhibition before I invite you to come down to see it. So, as I mentioned, the first Jewish service was held on the 25th of September, 1841, at the home of Benjamin Norden in Cape Town. And that led to the establishment of the first congregation in Cape Town. This exhibition is described as a celebration of the birth and evolution of a community. It tells the story of the South African Jewish community from 1841 to 2016, of how early Anglo-German Jewish settlers, poverty-stricken Litvaks, and the Sephardim of Rose Island came together and shaped a shared identity, the South African Jew. In the words of Gavin Morris, the director of the South African Jewish Museum, the exhibition is designed to tell the social history of the community, of you, me, our parents, grandparents, and what the community was and is like. You won't see stories of machas or a chronological timeline. It's all about our shared experience. The idea that everyone should be able to identify and resonate with some of the experiences that could have perhaps been experienced by your own family. My paternal grandfather came to Johannesburg in 1902 with great hopes of share in the gold rush of those days, the Golden Medina. We all have stories to tell. I hope this exhibition will inspire you. Okay, so let me explain the layout of the exhibition and a little bit of house rules. and some guidelines. It has three main elements. In the shul is a rolling film that lasts 10 minutes, and it combines the film has three short clips in it. One is an introduction by Gavin Morris explaining more detail about the exhibition, how it was put together. It also includes a short clip about Tikvat Israel, which is the garden shul, the oldest shul in Cape Town. And it has a third clip about the country communities. And all three together is a total of just over 10 minutes. So I urge you to share your time, sit and watch you'll need to relax a bit and sit and watch it in the shul. In the gallery are 40 panels with the main content of the exhibition. Give yourself time to read and to absorb the interesting anecdotes and stories that are on the panels. You may need to come back a second time because there's a lot there to absorb. Also in the gallery, the third element is a curated picture exhibition by Cape Town photographer Jenny Altschuler with 12 striking images depicting the Jewish life in South Africa. So those are the main three elements. For those who've not had a chance to have a bite to eat, I hope there are some leftovers, and we want to thank the kitchen of Beth Protia and to thank Beth Protia for the catering this evening. So those of you who haven't had a chance to have a bite, please, you are welcome to stay behind. And I urge you to not all head for the gallery, but to try and split between the gallery and the shul, otherwise it'll just be too crowded in the gallery for everybody to be there at the same time. But enjoy yourselves. I hope you find it interesting. Please register. There's a book at the entrance. Again, please register your details. Tell your friends and family about the exhibition. It'll be open from tomorrow, 9 o'clock until 1 o'clock. And then again on Sunday through Tuesday from 9 o'clock until 6 o'clock. And that should be enough time for most people to have a good view of it. So thanks again and enjoy yourselves. Thank you.
Wait. Yeah.
When you want to shop it, because I should do a guy. Let's go.
All the best.
Sorry.
She's coming back on Sunday. Okay, my dog. Well, I'm a great. This is my grandson.
It was in her name. She came and he, for his 100th birthday, sent her the picture that he took of him and her together. And so that's what she wrote him a letter for his 100th.
Where are we going? Goodbye.
You go.
See you.
Okay.
See you on Tuesday.
Tuesday and Wednesday.
We're Tuesday to film with the office, I think.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Bye.
Do you recognize anyone in these pictures?
No. Yeah. This fellow is still alive.
Really?
Just turned 104.
And where does he live?
Port Elizabeth. No, not him. He's the son.
The son of Reverend Levy.
Reverend Levy. His name is Denzel Levy.
And he's in Pretoria, in Port
Elizabeth. He's been the chairman
Elizabeth.
of Port Elizabeth since the shul was established in 1956. He's been, in other words, nearly 60 years the chairman.
Amazing.
He's still going strong.
Wow.
He just received for his 100th birthday a letter from the Queen Elizabeth, because when South Africa was still under Britain. She came to visit. She visited Port Elizabeth, and they named the art gallery after her. So he sent her the picture of him and her at the art gallery, and she sent him not just a normal telegram, she sent him a letter.
Fantastic.
And this was the famous grey shirts trial that took place in Port Elizabeth, but it was held in court in Grahamstown, the Supreme Court in Grahamstown, and the Jewish community won the case. I'm seeing that.
It's amazing.
Being exhibited.
It's incredible. This brings back such memories.
Yes.
And you were from PE?
I was from PE. Did you see the exhibition of her art?
Yeah.
You know her, the artist. It's close. It's my wife's family. She's also Ulster. That's Jenny Ulster. She's showing the pictures of her families. It's her father and her uncle.
So there was a Reverend Ulster.
That's their brother. The brother of these people.
My late grandmother married. Not Ulster.
So cute. Your mother married.
Sahaba.
Very cute.
Very small. There's 8 options in Durban.
Yes.
A lot of thought.
There was a Celia sister who lived there.
The whole thing is that it doesn't mention names. Sitting down with a big
Ulster. Who's
does not mention the name.
Daniel. My wife is my first cousin. I grew up in their house. I went to UCT. I stayed at there.
small world.
In Mozambique. Sometimes speaks, I don't know if you've heard him before, but sometimes he speaks a bit kind of off key. Tonight he was reasonably good. No, but yeah.
Do you recognize anyone in these photos? Do you recognize anyone? It's wonderful. Shabbat Metzner, yeah. Where were you from?
I'm from Cape Town.
From Cape Town. Oh, very nice. Wonderful. Oh, very nice to meet. Very interesting. Wow.
Yes, when I first came, his dad and my dad were twin brothers. So Jenny, his sister, and
What a small world.
Sorry.
I've not seen so many
How are you?
Have a look at this
Gedabini.
Over black sheep. Over black sheep.
That was Morris Marcus. He sent that in. He was cute. It's wonderful.
What is your name? I've seen you.
Liz Marcus.
Oh, of course. Photographer. Says to
Is it photography?
This is you?
That's me. I can you believe it? Oh, it's beautiful. Wow.
Kent de Lichterman. Alta.
Where is that measure? Benoni.
This is in Benoni Show? And Khazan Alta? Is that
Lichterman.
Kent de Lichterman.
and
Kent de Alta.
Alta, that was...
Not the Alta that you think, but it's also Kent, but a minor Kent.
Wow, that's amazing.
Find yourself there.
Gee, that's wonderful. Did you know before you were going to be in one of the pictures?
No.
Wow, that's very...
That's me. But Andy and the two girls are in one of the and we knew she was going to see the exhibition of
How much is the picture?
and she sent it to us that we knew this. And Miriam Andrews said she reviewed sent us the picture.
Paul told me. Yeah. I took over that partnership.
I see.
We've been working now together almost 20 years.
Yeah, it's a nice time. I'm trying to help Ralph to try and get with a tough time. Yeah.
No, we're okay.
Yeah. Doing the same thing?
More or less. We've got a standard different activities.
Did you live near Muizenberg?
Pardon?
When you were living in Cape Town,
I
did
lived
you live
in
near
Wynberg,
Wynberg,
which was half an hour's train ride to Muizenberg. Muizenberg at one stage had 36 licensed hotels.
36?
Half of them kosher, most of them kosher.
With the Shapiro's, the Balmoral, the Shapiro family had one?
They used to call it the immoral, not the Balmoral, but immoral hotel.
And do you recognize anyone in these?
The Rio Grande.
The Rio Grande? Yeah, this is the Rio Grande.
The Imperial. Oh, did they give food? Oi, oi, oi. How they made a living.
Maurice, do you recognize anybody in these pictures?
Pardon? No. No, but here I'll tell you something. I just pointed this out. The grey shirts. Yeah.
The grey shirts. You say grey shirts, wow, that's something
The
like
grey shirts in Cape Town, on Cape Town Parade. I'm talking in 1940. They had a meeting with grey shirts, swastikas. And Barney Levin, Jackie Rubin, Lady Yaswa and Izzy Lewis. I was then 15. We went up on the parade where they had this on the table. We climbed onto them, into the table, and we cornered them. The boys were arrested. Some of the Jewish community called us hooligans. Late Morris was one of the advocates. He got them all off. But we climbed into them. They didn't have any more meetings at the parade.
You know, the same thing happened with the National Front when they started. Well done.
That's a story from the grey shirts meeting. I can tell you myself.
Wow, it's wonderful to see this.
All right, thanks. How are you?
It's amazing.
A lot of us made it from Cape Town.
I was from Beta, really from Zimbabwe.
From Zimbabwe.
We arrived in South Africa. We went to school for the sisters. That is my story, the first pillar. That's my story, this one.
Which one?
Of a black sheep.
Is this, you gave this in?
That's my story.
The first school I attended in South Africa on arrival from Poland had a wonderful system of integrate foreigners. The newcomer aged 11 or younger was placed in the elementary class with 6 and 7-year-olds and progressed as our English. Wow, and Afrikaans improved. On reflection, in the Heim we were already learning Bar Mitzvah. In South Africa we had to start learning Baba Black Sheep. Wow, and you wrote this?
This is the left-hand Goldene and Baba Kama.
Wow,
this is my story. And another very interesting thing I want to point out to you.
Is Boba's herring? Boba's herring?
I know this story. This is a very, very well.
You didn't tell it to me, no?
Some people
One of the greatest turning moments in my life was when Rabbi Harris came to consecrate Cantor A.B. Immerman, the blind cousin's matzeva. He gave it a drosha, unbelievable, late Rabbi Harris, and Cyril Harris. And when he finished speaking, he turned around and he said, A.B. Immerman had no children, but if he would have had a son, he would have been like Moshe.
Wow. Really?
Tried to live up. Did you know about the blind rabbi? One of the greatest minds in South Africa, in the world. You could put him on the bima called Nigre, and it would go right through to Nile without making a mistake.
Blind, amazing.
Yes, Abraham, then Abraham. I'd like to thank the Father for his 80th birthday. I went to Israel. And Sunday afternoon we came here to Bethlehem. 300 South Africans came to greet baby Immerman.
Wow.
What a man. Unbelievable.
Where was he born?
He was born in South Africa under terrible circumstances. His mother was pregnant. His father was driving near Maitland, the swampland, selling fish, a wagon full of fish. Started a storm, so him and his driver went under the wagon for shelter. It must have been a clap of thunder. The horses went berserk, overturned the cart and killed the father. The mother was then pregnant, and he told me that this was one of the reasons why he was born blind. Story, if you want to, I can tell you one day. It's unbelievable.
But look what he achieved. It's amazing. With such a disability, look what he achieved. With such an enormous disability, look what he achieved. Off a heart. Wow, amazing.
One day, if you want to hear the story, there are all different stories. But I'd like to think that when he was about 70 odd, I said to myself, how does this man live? And I took him under my wing.
Really, Morris? Wow.
His wife, he got married.
He was married twice.
So remember,
they both died.
He would recognize your voice. We were once at a mitzvah, and I hardly knew him. I mean, Harold's late grandfather was Reverend Abraham Hoffman from Maitland. And he taught Cantor Immerman everything off by heart. Cantor Immerman taught Simon Weinstein. Do you remember Simon Weinstein?
No, it's Simi Weinstein. He came to Israel. He met us at the airport when I brought Aid here.
Wow.
Actually, there's a video of him, but then I sent my side of the story to Cape Town. I think it's on exhibition around the world. But
Well, it's amazing. And you brought him to Israel?
For his 80th birthday.
You paid and you organized it? You paid for the trip? And
every little cent I paid. The greatest moment, and there's a witness to it here. Shabbos morning, Simi Weinstein took Avi to the Heichal Shlomo in Yerushalayim. They cleared the desk. It was Goldene, the choir master, was also from Weinberg. They cleared the desk. And here walks in a man blind, goes on the bimmer, and he gave a mouthfeel as only A.B. Immerman could give. There wasn't a dry eye in that show. They carried it in. Anyway,
amazing.
Say this man, Cyril Harris, at his consecration, when he turned around and said A.B. Immerman had no sons, but if he had a son, he would have been like Moshe Marcus and pointed to. Yeah. Anyway.
What a story, hey? What memory.
One day, Father took me on one side. The face more serious than before said that he must ask me to help him. He decided to immigrate to South Africa and it would be necessary to raise the money in some way or other. Could I bear to sell my stamp collection? Though it came as a shock to me, I did feel a super pride. Despite my youth, I was able to do something really important for the family. It turned out there was not enough money for all of us to go. And to begin with, only Father and I settled for South Africa.
Wow, from selling a stamp collection.